need to find this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here. 444 Spearway. Oh, turn.
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kellee Show.
Great, let's start the show.
Hi, Kellee. My video didn't play for some reason.
Oh my gosh, I'm sitting here laughing by myself then.
It said your video clip did not play. The browser didn't recognize it. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, we got lost, but we got there in time.
It's always the story.
That's the story.
I've been trying your book, Kellee. Kellee's written a great book, you guys. Wait till you read it. You're gonna flip out. I think the cover should be you in a Superwoman's outfit.
We can make that happen.
Boy, what you've been through to be where you are. It's really great.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So I'm still in that space of reading your book. So forgive the energy around me. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Oh, honey. Did you have a good weekend?
I did. I went to the San Diego Gay Pride thing, and it was really amazing. I've been to something like that in 20 years, and it was really great to see the entire city come out and support all this. And people just having a great time everywhere, and the police and the hospital workers, and it was great. Families with kids, and it's great. It was nice. It's nice. It was nice. I'm not used to walking 5 miles though, so that really is.
Gosh, right?
Yeah,
right.
I'm not used to being in the city either. I like being in the country. How would you would be if you went back to the city?
It'd be interesting when I do go back.
You're in the farm now. Yeah,
I'm on the farm. Well, it's different. I'll tell you, it's very different. Yeah, I did something out of my comfort zone this weekend. Actually,
what?
I went to a dinner. We're remodeling, and so our contractor and builder invited us to his house.
In the woods?
And it was, yes, kind of. Yes, yes. There's a theme.
Yeah, you love the woods. Yes,
in the woods, and we sat by a fire pit in a fire pit. And I have to tell you, it was very relaxing. I actually was relaxed during this period of time.
Good.
It was lovely. I hadn't done anything like that. See, so I'm getting out of my comfort zone.
You live in the woods and have a little fire there. It's nice.
Went in the woods. Second time in the woods. Second time with a fire.
Very proud of you. Very
Thank
proud.
you. The things this Beverly Hills girl can do. Who knew?
Hi, Brenda. Hi, Kim Ann.
Hi, Angel. Hi, Mimi.
Ann.
Hi, Carrie East. Oh, Carrie is going to meet us in Alaska with her husband.
Oh, fantastic.
That's going to be great.
Kellee has Little Red Riding Hood, and Margaret says.
I like that, and Margaret. And we'll see you in Alaska, too.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
that's even. Hi,
I've
Sarah.
just started the program for them, writing the program out. It's really trippy. It's going to be.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Preparing to Leave Your Body is the first one. That's the first program, Preparing to Leave Your Body.
Wow.
Let's come be out of our body. Yeah.
Somebody had asked me, should they bring blankets and things like that?
I want to.
But you can get it from your room, isn't it?
Yeah, you bring it from your room. Don't bring stuff over, schlep that because don't need to. But it'll be very relaxing as best as we can make it in a theater style. Yeah. But it'll be it's a trip. It's going to be a voyage.
It is. It's going to be great.
Hi, Nancy. Marshall.
Hi,
Kellee,
Lori.
how was your weekend? Was your weekend good besides
it
fire?
It was wonderful. Yeah. It was a really good weekend. And should I tell you one of my great stories that happened over the weekend?
Yes,
I had the most amazing experience. So, James, you are an incredible gardener. I mean, your gardens are legendary. You have it for gardening. So I actually, you have a passion for it. Yeah. I have a passion for it. Every year I get so excited about it. I'm going to plant my garden, and every year it just doesn't do very well. But
it's like a science experiment, Kellee. If you go into it with that perspective, it's a science experiment. Something goes. And so.
Well, you're absolutely right, and mine has actually never worked. But I never give up. That's the thing. I never give up. And so this year I was like, I want to plant sunflowers, but I couldn't find sunflower anything. I couldn't find. I'm afraid to do seeds because I don't have the, experience for them, I guess. And I'm just a little anxious about that. But then I said, well, I'll just go buy some, like little sunflower plants. Anyway, I couldn't find any sunflower plants. And I was kind of bummed because I love sunflowers. And I thought, well, that's okay. Maybe next year I'll do it next year. But God, universe, spirit had a different plan for me. And without me doing anything, all of a sudden, one day I wake up And the whole row in the front of our farm, the entire row, which you're going to see in a second, was all sunflowers. And you said, Renee, can you show the pictures? You guys won't believe this.
Look at
This
that.
is my front of my house, and it's a full row of sunflowers that I did not look at that. On what's on one, James? I didn't plant anything.
There are a lot of them.
You know, we have birds. Look at that. We have birds, and we have, you know, I'm sure the birds must have dropped the seeds, but in a row like that, Don has had this house over 30 years. We've never had anything like this. So never give up hope. That's my message.
And I told you the sunflowers is associated with the spiritual world. It's like, that's like the representative of the logo for a lot of spiritual churches and spiritual associations.
I did not know that.
They use a sunflower, and it represents the other side, life, you know, life in the higher world, if you will.
Well, it's just fantastic.
Beautiful, Kelly. That's interesting. I'm sure Spirit had a little bit of work in there. Yeah. You betcha. Why wouldn't they, right? That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, gosh. So should we do a little astrology?
Please.
And then we'll get into we've got a great topic, everybody.
Interesting topic.
It's a fabulous topic. So let's say this is an interesting week. So today, James, there's a new moon in Cancer. Whether it's this, I'm talking about Vedic astrology, but it's also in Western astrology right now. It's a new moon in Cancer. Okay, so a new moon means that it's time to plant seeds, right? In a new moon, you want to plant seeds. You want to think of something that you really want to do. And this is a new moon in Cancer. And this particular one brings a return of light. It's a really powerful new moon. So this is all about embracing your emotions, because it's an emotional full moon, because it's in Cancer. So it's a really sacred time. So set your intentions today, tonight. So especially, you know, when we talk about our topic about keeping, you know, your thoughts positive and with our thoughts, this is a perfect time for you to you know, change your thoughts. It's a great thing to put down that you want to do tonight and really make that happen.
You say full moon or new moon?
It's a new moon. A new moon. And on new moons, we plant the seeds. We figure out what is it we want to do. This particular new moon is really interesting because if you can actually plant the seeds for the next 6 months, the next year, the next 18 months. So it's a really powerful time for this new moon. So please set your intentions, because this is a great new moon to meditate, maybe take a sacred bath, light a candle, you know, anything that brings you comfort, because Cancer is also the sign of comfort. So it's
nurturing. And Kellee, nurture. This because it's in Cancer. Would it also be a good time for people to move their families or get new places of moving or changing things up? Or
you could. I'll tell you what it is good for, James. It's funny you would say that. It's really great for changing things in the home. So let's say you wanted to redecorate or do anything in the home, you know. So it would be really good for that.
The Cancer rules the family and the home. So
the family and the home, yes.
And because you're a Cancer moon, do you get affected by this?
I do. And you know what I did today? I have several closets, and I cleaned them all out today. And Don was up there painting something, and we're cleaning out closets. I'm getting my clothes ready for Alaska, and I was so organized in this home today, you wouldn't have believed it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm still recovering from the weekend.
That's true.
I had a lovely last night. I had a lovely time with my friend Julie, and she came over. We cooked a lovely halibut.
See, now that's a Cancerian thing to do.
Yeah, made some nice food, barbecued a little bit, and you had a mango avocado salsa. Just saying.
Wow.
You would have loved it. A little red onion in there. Yeah, it was really good. And I had fresh potatoes from my garden. Literally, these potatoes.
Okay, that's very Cancer. Okay, now make sure, don't forget, chop up those peaches. I don't want you to forget that, because I'm going to make you. I'm going to make you a peach cobbler. Yep. Okay, and I love the fresh potatoes. Do you have zucchini too?
Potatoes. I got about 20 of them.
I love your garden.
Yeah, so I love potatoes also this time.
I bet they were fabulous.
They were really, really good. Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing like that.
Garlic. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So the rest of this week, I want everybody to really, you know, pack your patience, watch your temper, because from the 20th until about the 23rd or 24th, those are very intense days. Like today is a lovely day. On the 20th, Mars opposes Saturn, and so that could cause a lot of frustration. Okay, that's on July 20th. On July 21 and 22, we have some major deals going on that day. We have what's called a grand cross, and a grand cross is when 4 planets square each other.
Wow.
And in this case, it's Rahu, which is the north node, the sun, it's Ketu, the south node, and it's Pluto. So we've got Rahu, Ketu, the sun, and Pluto squaring each other. Wow. That could have something to do with world leaders, James. It actually could.
Just picking that up.
Oh, there you go. And also, it could, in your career, maybe it's time to look at your career. If you're not satisfied with your career, if you're not doing anything, like there's no sense of purpose in your career, this will be a week that you might make some big changes in it. Okay. I mean, this is a week for some big changes, because also July 22nd, the same day as this grand cross, Venus, the planet of love and finance, turns retrograde.
Oh,
yes. And it rules relationships. So let's say your relationship isn't doing well. Doesn't mean that it has to end, but it could mean that you are going to do some complete overhaul on it. Okay. I mean, for instance, even today there was Sofia Varaga. I don't think I'm saying her name right. She's actually getting a divorce now, and you're going to see divorces come up during this period of time. So there you go. So that's what's going on this week.
Now, would that have any problem opposing that new moon in Cancer? Would that be a conflict?
Well, I think
we're living in conflict.
We're living in conflict. And I think the new moon in Cancer, it's a really good question. The new moon in Cancer, set the intentions for yourself, really for yourself. And then know thyself. And then look at the way this week goes for you.
Sofia Vergara, okay.
Yeah. So this is one of this period of time.
I don't even know who that is. So
beautiful actress. Beautiful actress.
I was watching Elton John's farewell tour the other day on
that?
I didn't realize he was done. He did that. And it was in LA in November. And it was really, really emotional. Really emotional. Yeah. At the end, they show him kind of going to the Yellow Brick Road in heaven. And he was a big fan of mine. He read all my books. I met him on a radio show. And he said, "Would you mind if I sit in your segment?" I said, "No." He goes, "I read all your books. I'm a big fan." I'm looking at me, I'm a big fan of yours too.
Oh my gosh, James, that's huge.
Yeah. And one of the books describes heaven worlds. And I don't, who knows, but it was interesting because he has that awareness. And it's a great concert, farewell concert. I was crying. It was very emotional. So it's on Netflix.
Oh, I'll have to watch that.
Ever again. That's it. 75 years old.
Wow.
And this is, It's not, I don't think it's a Cher farewell tour.
Oh, thanks. I will definitely watch that. I appreciate that. Yes. Wow.
So today's topic.
Yeah.
Just a little story before we get started. So when I first moved to Los Angeles to be a sitcom writer, I used to take the bus I used temporary jobs, and I took the bus from Hollywood to Beverly Hills. And I used to pass a church. And I felt very connected with this church. I don't know why, because religion is not my thing, but it's Church of Religious Science. And I walked in there on a Sunday, and it was really, I could recognize it. I resonated with it. That thoughts are things. And that's their whole deal, is thoughts are things. And that's, and then I was living, ever heard of Manly Palmer Hall? Remember Palmer Hall? So in LA.
I have his books. Yeah. And I actually used to go there in Hollywood.
I used to go there too. So Manly Palmer Hall was a philosopher, and he had a place called the Society of Philosophical Research, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was over in Los Angeles. And I used to go there, and I once actually spoke there, Kelly. And there was a library behind that stage, of these great esoteric books. And I remember seeing Sundays, in the lectures, that sort of thing. And he also wrote, by the time he was 18, he had like 20 different books he'd done. And it was all about the same sort of thing of thoughts are things. And that's what tonight's topic is. So I've always been resonated with that. Thoughts Are Everything, Napoleon Hill's book, so many books.
Think and Grow Rich. Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich. I used to read it on the bus, and I used to do visualizations all the time. And it's really, really true, that mental world. Thoughts are things. So
yes, thoughts are things. And you really do have to keep your thoughts positive.
Yeah.
You really do. So James, I've got to ask you this. I thought this was a really interesting question. And this is from Cindy Sue. So Cindy Sue, she said, I
remember Cindy Sue.
Cindy Sue, she said, "I can't be on the live discussion tonight, but I do have a question." She said, "I am spiritual. I try to always be thoughtful and kind and so on. She
Which,
said,
which
but
is very important for
which
that.
is
That's the foundation. Is that everyone's
right,
being kind and compassionate. So everything is, let's say, energy fields all around us, right? And you're
exactly.
putting that out, and you're filling that up with that beauty and that love and that compassion. Okay, now continue.
She says, but I read, I watch, and I write horror and suspense. She said, how does this affect my life?
It would.
Yeah.
And if we just think of everything as energy, that very subtle um, energy, molecules that move and vibrate at a certain rate and speed, and we are made up of energy, and our thoughts are energy. So, and when you're an empath and sensitive, whatever you have in your atmosphere around you, will sometimes just bleed into that atmosphere because we share it. It doesn't stop there. So whether you're on a plane and there's fear for flying, or go to a dentist's office or doctor's office,
Right.
or you watch horror movies, it's energy that you're going to pick up, that you're going to see it, you can observe it. And I think it will affect you. I can't say it's going to destroy you, but it certainly would affect you, your atmosphere around you, no matter where you are in the atmosphere, whether you're in going through a hard time in a marriage with a family that's negative, or around negative people at work. That starts eating away. It does get in there. You can't just stop it.
Well, it's funny you would say that, because yesterday I watched a show that I have not seen before, and it's a series called The Last of Us. So I know probably a lot of people have seen this show. I could only get through barely the first one, and frankly, I could only watch about half of that, and I had to walk away. It was about, what happens in the future of some negative things, and it was so negative. For me, I couldn't watch it. And the
Yeah.
only reason I even bring this up is I had bad dreams last night, and I never have bad dreams. Interesting. So I have to, there's a connect with that.
It's definitely connected. There's no separation. So it's all connected. So
Yeah.
again, I look at it as fields of operation, of perception. And where am I going to place my thoughts and my energy?
Mhm.
And I could be around, and I have been around, some very negative, dark situations with
Yeah.
people, and it's like, and I have to observe that, because I can't get
Mhm.
involved in it, because it brings me down as well, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually. So it's where you always got to kind of keep a sense of who you are and what you're looking at, what's your focus,
Right.
where do you go to? And for me, it's a matter of, and it just didn't come very easily too. I had to work at it and practice, but it's all about creativity and looking forward and excitement and joy. And that comes with like sitting in the power as well, getting involved in that lovely sense of your soul self. And since I've had that relationship that I'm aware of this level, it's made me happy. It's made me joyful. It's made me also, it does extreme, because then I look how humans treat one another, and it really gets me like, oh, wow, I cannot believe, so, you've got to be aware of it. And they don't own you. None of these thoughts really own you, but it's what you're perceiving. It's what your awareness is. And it comes down to the basic love or fear.
It all comes down to love or fear.
Fear.
Yeah.
And love is freedom and creativity and faith and possibilities and love. And fear is limiting. It's critical. It's judgmental. It's hurtful. So where do you place your thoughts? Where do you want to live? So
Right.
thoughts have also the intention behind it that gives it the power.
I was going to say thoughts are incredibly powerful, James.
Right. So thought is a creation. We're always,
Mhm.
we are God, and God is kind of creating. That's what God is. God, as not a human, everybody, an energy, which is creativity. Completely, we're always flowing with that creative energy. And if you give it some intention, some force behind that thought with intention or emotion, it gives it more seeds to grow quicker, to manifest quicker.
Yes.
And it'll happen in ways that you don't expect. If you have that thought and you create that and you want to manifest it, you send it out with as much love and emotion as you can, and leave it alone. Don't try to control it then. And don't try to manipulate it. Let the universe take care of it, and it'll happen. Might not happen the exact way you think of, but you want to be very detailed as you can, and let the universe will present it to you in the right time and space. A couple of things. A story of mine, which is a really funny story. You might remember this from my books. My friend Carol, who worked at William Morris Agency, she was my supervisor when I was there, and she had a funny experience. She used to visualize that she was in a Mercedes Benz. She was one of Mercedes Benz driving down Wilshire Boulevard. So she used to visualize herself at 12:15. She's looking at the clock on the dashboard. It's a brown Mercedes with a copper inside. It's a convertible she made. And she looks at the clock on the bank, 12:15. She's driving down Wilshire Boulevard. I said, wow, that's really great, Carol. That's really great. She said, well, you got to be careful. Every creation of a thought you put out there, and every manifestation, you've got to have every detail correct, and every one. I said, okay, what do you mean by that? She says, everything has to be covered. So she goes, 2 years later, after I had that thought, I was driving myself in Wilshire Boulevard, and it was a brown car and a copper interior. I stopped at a red light, and it was a convertible, and looked up, and there was a clock and a big 12:15. I remember this. But what you didn't put into that account was she owned that car. She didn't put that in there. So she was driving her boss's car, picking it up from the mechanic and bringing it back to work.
Oh my gosh, what a big lesson to learn.
So you really got to see the fullness of
Wow.
that it's yours, you
Yeah.
own it. And that's really what's funny, because you will create whatever you think. That's it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting because thoughts have the ability to affect your mood, James, your behavior. They can actually overall rule your life,
That's true.
And so the reality is most people are completely unaware of their thoughts.
Isn't it amazing? And
It's
most people are reactors.
amazing.
Most people are probably reactors instead of active. They're probably reactive instead of being active.
Yes. Yeah.
And you really want to be active with your thoughts, because when you're active, you're more aware. You're more
Yes.
aware of everything in your life, everything that's happening at that moment. You then become aware of the subtleties of the energy and how the energy shifts when you meet certain people or you go in certain spaces. You'll feel a shift in that energy. And the emotional body will say, is this feeling good? Or is this feeling bad? So you got to be very mindful. You're in control. It's like driving a car. It's like you are in control. So
That's a great phrase to remember. You are in control.
you are in control.
Actually. So if you want to have a negative thought and go down that road, you will have a negative thought going down that road.
And it's not else's fault but your own. So there's another great Bible, they're close to my Bible, which I've read for a long time. And I'd recommend it really highly. It's You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought by John Roger.
Great book. Great book.
It's great. And can I just read a little bit from this?
Please.
The Power of Thoughts. It says, a simple thought, a few micromilliwatts of energy flowing through our brains, a seemingly innocuous, almost ephemeral thing, and yet a thought, or more accurately, a carefully orchestrated series of thoughts, has significant impact on your mind, your body, and your emotions. Thoughts have responses in the body. Think of a lemon. Imagine cutting it in half. Imagine removing the seeds from one half with the point of a knife. Smell the lemon. Now imagine squeezing the juice in the lemon into your mouth. Then imagine digging your teeth into the center of the lemon. Chew the pulp. Feel those little things, whatever those little things are, called breaking and popping inside your mouth. Most people's salivary glands respond to the way the very thought of a lemon. Now, how many people can do that? Because your thought creates. So it says, some people, the more thought of a sound of fingernails on a chalkboard are physically uncomfortable. Try this. Imagine an emery board or a fingernail file on a double-sided piece of sandpaper. Now imagine putting it in your mouth. Bite down on it. Now move your teeth side to side. Thoughts influence our emotions. Think of something you love. What do you feel? Now think of something you hate. What do you feel? Now something you love again. We don't have to change our emotions consciously. Just change our thoughts, and our emotions quickly follow. So emotions will follow your thoughts.
Yes.
That's the intention of the emotion following the thought. Very important.
Right. Wow. You're absolutely, that's a lemon one is a good one.
And it's a great book, everybody. The Can't Afford the Negative Thought, because it's what you're creating. You want negativity, limitation, and fear, then put it out there.
Right. And you have to, when you have a powerful thought and it's a positive thought, you have to keep doing this. It's a muscle. You've got to build this muscle up over and over and over and over if it doesn't come naturally to you.
And another simple technique you might want to try, everybody, is just imagining that beautiful energy is coming up for the first chakra, that red, the orange, the yellow power, and then the heart, the green, and treat like being in a fountain. You just feel that energy go to your heart.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Right. So when you have the heart space, it opens up that area and brings out love. And of course, love builds. And then you'll be in that love space for a long time, and then you go to your throat and do self-expression. Take your time, but open up that heart center. That's the first good way to start flavoring your thoughts, I guess you'd say, your perceptions.
What would you think about, like, for me, I start my day, I meditate, I start my day, so my mind is already, in a good space. And I always read something from The Quiet Mind.
The Quiet Mind, Why You Go, it's great. It's another Bible.
It's great, and it just gets my thoughts going for the day. And
Because, Kellee, what it does, it brings up your energy, the vibration, the frequency
yes,
to a higher level of love. And that's
yeah.
who you are. And it kind of keeps it there. And that's that's the point you're starting your day off. So the Buddhists talk about doing something with, every day the same thing. So whether get up, making your bed, and doing something you're grateful for right away. So I get up every morning and I take my doggie out and I thank the universe for another day.
Right.
That's what I do every day. That's a form of meditation. But yeah, that, what you put out there at the beginning of the day affects the rest of your day.
From what I understand, one of the best things to do, if you can, is to go outside as soon as you wake up, or get some fresh light, or look at the light, or go out. For me, I take the dogs out like you do, and I see, I look at the sun and I look up, and if it's a winter day, I still have a lot of light on, around.
Well, the first thing I do is actually press the coffee pot button. And then
I know you do. You know what? I don't actually do that till around 10.
Really?
I have lemon water first. Then I take my time.
Good for you. I go right for coffee. I like coffee.
I know you do. So, and you have to firmly believe in your thoughts. That's like a really important here. Believing in your thoughts of positivity and growth. And you've got to conduct your life in a manner that is entirely congruent with your thoughts. So if you have thoughts of love, you have to really live your life congruently with that.
It's very, very true. You put out what you want, you put out there. And we're constantly creating, and we can always have anything we want. The God says yes, the universe says yes, but the human ego says no. So be very careful of that critical mind, because it can pull you down, it can limit you and stop you and get you in that judgment space, which you don't want.
Right.
Throughout the day, throughout our time here, I want to read these little quotes from this wonderful book here. It's another great Bible, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
Oh.
It's another Bible one. And these are some quotes from that, which I wanted to share with everybody. Kellee likes this one the best. Oh, this is something else, Kellee. 2 things define you: your patience when you have nothing, and your attitude when you have everything.
That's very good.
It's a good one, right? And there's another one here. It says, the greatest pleasure in life is doing what people say you cannot do.
I love that.
Never give up on a dream just because of the time will take to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway. That's
actually, my mother used to say that to me.
Yeah. And you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Yes. And it's simple, but true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
A river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. So, you got to do your work. I think we earn everything. Spirit world always said, you earn everything in your life. And I have that feeling. You probably do too, Kellee, from reading your book and so forth, that you've earned everything.
From the sunflowers, actually.
You certainly have.
Thank you for saying that. I know I make it look easy, but it was not easy getting here.
Another one. This is a great one. If it is important to you, you will find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse.
Well, that's very good.
Okay.
Very good.
This is a great one. If people are not laughing at your goals are too small.
That's a really funny one. Oh my gosh. Laurel Davies says, thoughts are things. The Seth material is so inspirational. The Nature of Personal Reality by Jane Roberts. Yes, Laurel, I agree.
I agree too. That's one of the early ones I read that we read. And ultimately, like Kellee said, the focus of your thoughts. What's your focus and your attention drawn to that creation? And I think it's good to manifest that and visualize that and send it out to the universe, emotion and intention, and make it a positive thing, right? Not negative. Enough limitation of fear on this earth right now. Right. Make it more positive. And I think when you start doing that and create positive, loving visuals and imagination and thoughts, it affects your whole life. It affects the space that you're in. It affects the atmosphere. Like attracts like. So you will attract that which you are of. So if you're of love, you'll attract love in your life. It may not happen the way you want it to, because a lot of us are control freaks and want it our way. But just let the universe, that wonderful choreographer the universe is, design it for you perfectly, and it'll happen. And
Earth is a school of a lot of tests, right? I mean, it's a constantly test. We're tested. And for me, the true test is whether your thoughts are powerful enough actually to change your actions.
Yeah.
And you
I was around a lot of people this weekend. A lot of people. I've been around that many.
What was that like?
It was very strange for me because I'm used to being around landscapes and gardens and doggies, and being around humans was quite interesting. I was really interesting because when it was a gay pride thing down in San Diego, and it was people from all over, all walks of life, every belief system. Belief systems have really changed now. Before there was the rainbow flag, now it's multi different flags. And I
Yeah.
had a guy at a booth who was creating the flag said, "Can you tell what these different colors mean?" And he goes, "I don't know."
Oh my gosh.
But it's good to see everybody there, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wasn't really crazy on being around a lot of people. I got to tell you, I don't know. Like when I'll be in the cruise, it'll be another situation. So but I used to be around people all the time, but I haven't been around people a lot.
I know.
So,
I was wondering about that too, James.
what did you feel? Because in Chicago airport, you were a little.
Oh, well, it was awful, actually. It was
Yeah.
it was pretty bad. I mean, for me to sit down and have 2 martinis, it was bad. I was like, okay, I got it. But I tried. I tried to,
Whenever
laugh.
things
I
get
called
weird,
you.
yeah, and whenever things feel weird or get weird, I just remind myself to pull out and just
Yeah.
change the perspective
Yeah.
and get in observation mode. Because
That was good.
I'll pretend like you and I went to go see a friend I was seeing, and we sat in the balcony, and that's why I always get that balcony sense, like looking down.
Oh,
and
that's a
it's
good
dark.
one.
It's good.
Yes.
It's observation. We'll get away from the judgment, just go back observation.
Yeah.
And as Kelly White taught me, that soul might be limited. They might not know what they're doing. So
And there's so many limited souls, James.
Walking
We
Dead,
we laugh a lot about this too.
we laugh because you can't take it so seriously
No.
because this isn't real. This is all an illusion. It's how
Right.
you make it, though, how you create it for yourself.
Right.
Like right now, as we sit here, we're a total summation of everything we've thought of prior. This is
Mhm.
it.
Right. So I've got some tips, James, for creating positive thoughts. So one of the first ones is to practice mindfulness. So in order to adopt a more positive thinking pattern, you must become aware of your current ways that you're thinking. So ask, like, every time you have a thought, am I negative? Am I positive? What's going on with me? Because you have to really become mindful, and that's a muscle to become mindful of this. So it's
100%.
very important to do that. And the second thing is you must address your inner critic. So is your inner critic your mom, your grandmother, your father, your somebody? Who is the critic here? Because that critic has got to go.
And Kelly, let me ask you a question here with that. The inner critic, could it be also someone who's had a major traumatic experience? They haven't
Absolutely.
forgiven someone yet because they'll uncover all of that stuff that holds them down, that holds them
All
back.
the above. It's self-esteem. In psychology, we call it an interject. It's like, what did you swallow? This interject. So the interject could be that your mother said you were ugly, or your mother said you were fat, or your mother said you're never going to amount to anything, or your father did this, whatever. It's an interject, and literally, that to pull that out of somebody to make a change, it's a hard one. It's hard to make a change, but you can do it. You can do that.
And it's good. It's actually really good because we're
It
limitless.
may have been one of your soul's goals in this lifetime, frankly.
Yeah, one of your lessons.
One
And
of
really,
your lessons.
we're constantly growing. Every day we're growing. I mean,
Right.
really, cells die and be reborn. We're constantly moving in flux. So change your attitudes, change the way of doing things.
Right.
My brother had a great one. He said, "Don't look in the rearview mirror.
That is a good one.
Don't look behind you."
That's a good one. Yeah. And
Yeah.
know your triggers. So what triggers you? You got to know your triggers.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't, I get triggered. I know, James, you can get triggered. We can get triggered.
Oh,
But
yeah.
It's just as we're human, where you get triggered. But
I
I know my triggers.
I also think it's important that we be very mindful of our atmosphere that we're in.
Oh,
So in your
so
house, or the
true.
negative people or critical people in your house that you're with,
Yeah.
you have to set boundaries. You have to do boundary
Yeah.
work because that's really important, as we know. And you have to set that space around you because you're walking into that. In my book, Talking to Heaven, I wrote about this. It was called The Velcro Suit. And what the principle behind it was that we're all receiving energy. We're all getting stuff. And a Velcro suit attaches everything. So people think of you, the intention of that thought is you. So their thought goes right to you and it'll stick to you. And one day you're like, I don't feel like myself, because you're not. You're other people's energies in your space.
So
So
true.
that's why it's important to be mindful and aware of the atmosphere around you, the
Yep.
people in your lives, who you're supporting, whether consciously or unconsciously, subconsciously, who you're supporting in there, who's in that space.
Right.
And you have to peel it away. Just, every morning I take my shower, I see a beautiful light. When I'm with the physical body, cleansing that, I go to the spirit body and imagine beautiful, loving light coming through the body and around my fields and taking away, dissipating anything negative or other people's
I
energy.
do love that one. That's very good.
Great one. And it really, really works.
Because it keeps you mindful.
And it keeps you in your own energy space.
Yes.
And you're getting mindful that you need to clean other people's space, energy out of your space.
Right.
That's who you are. You will be influenced from those energies.
And another thing that you can do is change your surroundings. And it's up there with, making a change with the people that you're around, or literally changing your surroundings.
Yeah. And Kellee, I found, as you know, that gardening for me, seeing flowers, creating is really, really positive. And I love that, grounds me and centers me. And it something people are careful of, distractions. How many distractions are in your life? And how much attention do you give to distractions?
Oh, come on. So true. It's so easy in this world to get distracted. It's, there was a great book called Driven to Distraction. I mean, it's easy to do.
It's easy because we fall right into that space because we don't have to deal with certain things, perhaps.
Right. That's so true. And because you don't want to deal with something. That's so true. Okay. Another thing you can do is maybe have a mantra that helps to remind you, whatever that mantra is. You were? Oh, is there a good one that you can give people?
Well, in my class, I tell people to make up a mantra on their own because they know themselves. Yeah. But my mantra I love and I use it. It's healthy am I, happy am I, holy am I. And I say
like this?
Like the cup. That's right.
I love this cup. Right. I love this cup.
Yep. I have a t-shirt too. And again, what you're put out there, you're setting that programming up. So I love the other one. May God go before me and show me the way.
I love that one.
Right? Or may I love everyone in my space. Remember, my light reflect. Make it simple, and everyone should have their own little mantra that they start the day with, and set that programming.
Yes, that's a great one. That is a great one. And write it out so you know it, so you don't forget it. Write it out. Remember what you're trying to do. That's a great one right there. Yeah. So you can remember. Did you ever read? And I never read this, but it was "Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life" with Dwayne Dyer.
I certainly have. Yes.
So a lot of people have said that they read it and they would take a meditation from it. Not meditation. They would take a passage from it, and that would be their passage for the day.
That's great. It's like Abraham Hicks' work as well. It's it's what you create with your thoughts. Sending out those positive vibes, and every day we're creating, every moment we're creating. So, are you mindful of the creation? Is it conscious of what you're doing?
Right. I love this. Gail Jean says, my mantra is, I will not allow others to affect my inner peace.
Perfect one.
Okay.
Really,
I'm going to use that one, Gail. That's a great one. Thank you for that.
Good. Yeah, that's great, Gail. That's a great one. So that's the vibration we're looking at. That's the space you want to keep it at. Yeah. Yeah,
definitely.
Wow. I know for me lately, traffic has been tough, driving freeways in California. And I'm very aware now of people's spaces, like, I don't know, an energetic level. I'll know when a car is going to move over. I'll know when a car is, I just know it. So I keep on sending love to these people like windshield.
So you put your energy towards that.
I do. So what happens, before I get in a car, I always put my energy around my space as a protection.
It's a great idea.
I did that when I started Ghost Whisper, when I go to LA and deal with the studios. And I just didn't want any negative energy affecting me. So I would sit by the 101 freeway.
Which, by the way, folks, that's a tough place to be.
Every morning I do that before I go to those gates. Because all that negative energy there and, needing, it was just not good energy. So, yeah.
I think that's an understatement. Yeah. Wow. That is so interesting.
That's a good one. This is negative people suck your energy out. It's very true.
Yeah, they do.
This is hot knot.
Yeah, they definitely do. They will do that.
Chris Saglow, I love myself just the way the song. I love the song. I love myself just the way I am.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a good one. Glenda Sullivan, try to keep life positive, but family members keep being negative. It's so hard because you don't choose family. Well, I think differently. Have mentioned to family that I want a positive life and home, but my sister's one lives with me, keeps bringing negativity. What can I do?
Well, from a therapist point of view, Kellee, what do you think? Yeah. And then I have a response.
Okay. So boundaries. I mean, first of all, we choose our families before we incarnate. We choose. Now, why did you choose this sister? Why did you choose them? I don't know, but I will say this, Glenda, you're waking up to a lot of the nonsense that has gone on, And somebody in the family has to wake up to all of this and set boundaries.
And I would say learn responsibility, Glenn, to take choices. You got to learn responsibility for your own choices, who's in your space. And it might be some kind of dysfunctional relationship too. You got to remember that.
Oh,
and many times the personality disorders, Kellee knows about this one,
personality
right?
disorders, people are limited. If
You
there's
want
a
to please your
personality
family.
disorder,
But you
I mean,
can listen, you can set the boundaries for family as well and say, I will not accept that from you. So sorry.
I think
So
we learn the most from families.
we do. They're greatest teachers because they represent part of us, the same
Yeah.
energy. And it's almost like a mirror looking at yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and if a family member of mine is not whole or is a bit negative, I will see what's negative within me, and I'll just send them love, and and they'll come to their own place when they're ready.
Right.
But I see what's going on with me as well. Am I looking at this clearly? Am I aware of this? And I know myself pretty well.
You do know yourself
the
well.
more you
Know yourself.
yeah,
Absolutely.
thy own self be true. That's also from James Allen as well, as a man thinking.
I love that.
Your thoughts become realized.
Yeah.
So
Lori counts. Hi, Lori. She said, when someone
Lori.
lives in their own made-up world, eventually will that person reap what they think or sow, even when that person is a narcissist, especially if they don't change their thoughts? Oh, yeah, Lori, absolutely. They will. They will. They don't have to change. Narcissists really don't change their thoughts. Personality disorders don't change.
Yeah, they're in their own world, really.
Yeah, they really aren't, I'd say, capable of it. So in your case, you would be the one that would change and set limits and boundaries with people.
So I became very aware that, when we pass over, many people that pass over, they're still not awake. And they get over, they're like, oh,
let's talk about that. So I've noticed that as well. It's interesting, isn't it? Because my mother used to say to me, when I die, or when everybody dies, don't they automatically become like this, they all knowing? I'm like, no, where'd that come from, Mom?
Now the personality continues on. You grow up, but you see expansion of yourself as a soul being from that level, one level up, if you will, and you become aware of things. Again, if you're ready for it. So when we pass over, in the Bible says, my Father has a house with many mansions.
Yeah.
And that, to me, what means all the various levels and spheres. Yeah. And you go to with the one you've created based on your life, your thoughts, your words, your deeds. What did you create over there? What atmosphere? And you will live with other beings who are on the same vibrational frequency.
The same vibration. And until that vibration is heightened, your vibration is heightened, I don't think you're going to get much further up.
It's like walking on this earth, too. How many people are open-minded? How many people are limited? It's happening here too. So on the other side, when you have that mindset, remember, our soul is the mind is the soul. You will have that same mindset when you pass over. So whether it's an atheist, whether someone doesn't believe in life after death, whatever it is, you'll go to that space. And many spirits have come back and said, oh, I didn't believe in this in life. I don't believe in any of this, but I'm here now. So, I mean, that's happened quite a bit to me because they're opening up. They're realizing there's something more to it. So it's very interesting how it, yeah, it's fascinating.
It is. Okay, Patricia Aldana. Oh, Lisa Pearl. I really hope someone, Kellee, can speak to my question. It's such a common theme with spirituality to blame and shame people for negative thoughts when some people really can't control them. It's very true. So are you talking about, well, that's interesting.
But you can control your own thoughts. You can control your own space.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was
wouldn't
thinking.
give them leeway to say anything negative because they can't control their thoughts. You can control your space, and certain things aren't allowed. And don't give in that way. Again, that's a little bit of codependency there, I think, right?
But it is a common thing with some spiritual bypass people that think that they're spiritual, actually, to shame people for having negative thoughts. It's kind of passive aggressive and manipulative.
Right.
Yeah, and manipulative. So good question, Lisa. I'm glad you actually asked that. There was here, Patricia Aldana. She says, before we reincarnate, aren't we prepared for the challenges here on Earth? How many levels are there? How do we meet our soul families when we pass over if they are in different levels from us?
Wow, there's so many questions packed.
So many questions.
One thing at a time. My goodness gracious. Before we reincarnate, so remember, number one, Patricia, that you're a soul, first and foremost, having a physical experience, that the soul, 70% is out of the body right now, experiencing different worlds, different times, different spaces, and only a little bit, 30% maybe, is even the physical. So your soul is much, much more here, and they're outside of time. So it's like my friend said last night when she came through, the chasms of time.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Great title too, chasms of time. So we're just completely divided into what time is. They're outside of time. So it doesn't make sense. So you come here to learn. Remember, this is a soul school. It's a hard one, but you grow and progress pretty quickly here. So we choose those lessons that our soul needs to experience in order to grow and expand and to look at something with a different perspective. So how many levels there are, that's like limiting consciousness. How can you say how many levels of consciousness? How many levels of thought are there? It's a better way of saying it.
Exactly.
Are there? Yeah. And when you're connecting with loved ones on a soul level, they don't just go one step and they can't see you ever again. You're part of them, they're part of you. So you become very aware. But I find that when we pass over and we think of our families and partners, friends, I have found, and my sister passed over, she said, I'm not with mom and dad anymore. They're in their own spaces and I'm in my own space. And I'm doing my work now. So there are many spheres and spaces we go to where we belong. And just because we're married 50 years to someone doesn't mean we're going to end up in the same place they are, because our works are maybe a little bit different. We're learning something else over there.
Right. Absolutely. So true. Oh, gosh, that was a good one. Good question.
Here's Gail Jean. I find when souls first cross over, they have a life review. Very true. Then they go to a healing school. Some do, some don't. When they heal themselves, some souls heal fast, some don't. Do you find this to be true? Yes, Gail, I wouldn't say they always go to a healing space. Not always.
Not unless they need to.
Not unless they need to.
Yeah.
A lot of it, too, is change their mindset. Because remember, their mindset might be very much of the earth world. And they might not even realize that they're dead because they feel so light. They feel full of, and it's so natural. It's slowly opening them up. I remember I once did a reading. This is one of my books. It's really interesting. I did a reading for a lady once. For a girl. And her grandmother came through. And she asked how it was when she first passed over there. And the grandmother said, it was quite strange because they showed me everything I created on the earth and things I didn't create, what I was responsible for and things I weren't responsible for. And she said, one of her guides brought her to a hospital thing or a healing school, you'll call that a building. And the guide said, look at that soul on the bed. And it was a gentleman. And the lady screamed, she goes, oh, that's the Nazi soldier that killed me. And he said, you have to forgive him before he can wake up. He's been waiting for you.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the first thing she had to do was forgive him. Isn't that interesting?
Oh,
imagine.
Huge.
It's huge. And when you're outside of time, all you have is your thoughts of mental stuff going, oh, how could I have done that? I can't believe all these years. So it was
Wow.
And thoughts are so powerful. Yesterday I had the realization, of course, when we think of someone, they're right there. It's like a telephone goes right to them. It's like a switch goes on. I was watching a Rock Hudson show, documentary on Netflix, really good. And I remember I was watching this, and Mark Miller, his secretary, and then George Nader, his best friend. When Rock died of AIDS, I was called in to do a reading from Columbia Studios, and I met with them in West Hollywood. And I remember Rock came through pretty well, but he was really disturbed at how he passed over. And I was watching the show so many years later, just last week. And afterwards, oh, Rock, yeah, it was good to work with you. And instantly I heard, oh, James, that was so long ago. And it was him. So they're right there.
Yeah.
It's just they're right with us. They're not far away. And that was really interesting. And he lost his, and this happened with many celebrities I've done and met from this side. They lose that sense of, the public wanted them to be a certain thing. That's not who they really are. Like Lucille Ball came through and she said, I want to heal people through comedy, but it wasn't what they made me to be. And even Marilyn Monroe came through and she said, it was very interesting. Many, many years ago, Susan Strasberg, I did a reading for her, who did a book.
Oh, wow.
Because he was a roommate in New York. And Marilyn or Norma came through and she said, I wish they, meaning the public, would pay homage to themselves instead of to me. Because that's not who I am. It's what they want me to
be. Wow.
Yeah. So you got to, there's also, everybody, there's always a time to open up. Don't be angry that you haven't had this awareness before. And that now, is it too late to start? No, it's never too late to start changing your thoughts, changing your thinking.
Absolutely. Isabel Cerulli, listening to you both always helps me refocus, and things in life have been difficult and negative feelings are so common. Thank you for sharing this time with us. It really helps remind me to stay positive. You're welcome, and I'm so glad that you said that. Hi, Renee Hounsel.
Renee.
I always hear the term "fake it till you make it."
I heard that yesterday.
Did you? Does the universe not already know we're not being authentic? Is it better to process something before trying to create positive thought?
Well, I think you have to do some house cleaning first, house clearing, before you're able to send a pure positive thought there. What do you have to handle here before you whether it's believing yourself or loving yourself or wanting love in your life, you first have to love yourself. So if you want love to come into your life, you first have to have the foundation. So I think that's very, very true to begin with, though. And fake it till you make it. I love that expression. I used it yesterday. It just came into my head.
Did you?
It's true in mediumship, but sometimes there's a lot of students, they get up on stage and demonstrate, and and there's the pausing because they're thinking, and your audience members look at you. You got to like fake it till you make it. Like, create some positive things until you get that connection again. When the spirit says something to you, you just to linger there for a little bit of that space. They come in, so you don't say, "Oh, they're hanging up the phone," because they don't. It's just a change of the energy.
They don't hang up.
We use that term a lot, and it comes through that way. Yeah.
That was a funny one. Lori counts. When there is loss by suicide, it seems that soul would have many levels because for the most part, they realized their headspace wasn't in a good place. Is that correct?
What do you think, Kellee?
I think so. It seems like the soul would have many levels. For the most part, that they realized their headspace wasn't in a good place. So, Lori, yes, I think that there would be.
And also, again, I've learned, Lori, that it depends on the suicide. It depends on the actual acts of. Some of those are lessons that they agreed to do beforehand before they came in to teach their soul family about forgiveness or love too. So that soul took that on, that condition. Well, suicide's different. They're not all the same. Right. And many times we find that we bring the spirit through. They say, well, I was helped by those who before me had the same circumstances, and they knew my mindset when I came over here. So they might bring them to some kind of healing hospital. It's called like a mind hospital to remember to change your mindset. And it's almost like rejigger it up, you go back, recalibrate it.
I like that.
Imagine how our emotions affect our mind. It's
of course. So of course. Leslie Chambers says, hi from Australia. Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Leslie.
Says, it's taken me years to be happy with where I am in life now, and I'm 67 years old. So, Leslie, that's quite common. That's quite common, actually. That's, often people don't really necessarily are that happy until they're about 60 plus, is what I've noticed. James, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I just feel you have to live in the moment, because if you're living in your past or you live in the future trying to be something.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Almost of each moment, and you appreciate all the moments. And then, you look back. I think as you get older, you definitely have some wisdom there. Yeah. I look at things very differently than I used to 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
Marlene, and you're absolutely right. She says it's never too late as long as you're breathing. I completely agree with that. You can change your thought and change your life at that moment. My gosh. And James, tell us, you have some things going on coming up, right?
Yes, I have
a couple of big things.
Meditation course is on sale right now. I have an Evening of Spirit Messages coming next Wednesday, which is Wednesday, and that's at 4 p.m. And that's going to be great, 2-hour event. And then we have just the school stuff going on. Then I have in Encinitas, California, I have an event Friday.
A live event.
Yeah, live event. Actually doing readings for the audience. So it's on my website, vanprog.com. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And what are you up to, Kellee?
I've got Ask Me Anything on Thursday night. That's what I've got going on right now. And I don't know if I have any spaces left for people, but because I think I'm booked up until I think I might have a couple left until I leave, to be with you, actually. Karen Sanders, thank you, Kellee and James, for showing us your beautiful light that shines every time I see you both. Oh, thanks, Karen. That's so sweet. Let's see. Okay, Kyle Hodges, she says, I'm surrounded by negative words and thoughts from a spouse. What is the best way to clear my home?
Get rid of them. I don't know. Leave.
I was going to say divorce.
and when you think about it, it's a pool of thoughts. It's a pool of, and it's energy behind that from the husband or whatever. And you're living in that. And
get some therapy.
Yeah. Otherwise,
if that person will go into therapy,
they're perfect. Because otherwise you're going to drown in that energy. And you're responsible.
I mean, you and I both have been in that energy.
Oh God, yes.
Please.
Oh my God, more than once. There's a desperation to it. It's a weird energy too.
My God. Fearful. Penny Asma says this was really good to listen to tonight. Going to be great on the cruise. Oh yay, Penny! It'll be fun to see you, Gail Jean. Thank you for sharing and raising the frequencies. Love you both. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you. Love to you.
So sweet. We do have a lot of positivity, right, James?
We do. Because we laugh.
We laugh a lot. We'll be laughing a lot on the cruise.
We'll be laughing a lot on the cruise. They chronologically change ages.
Yes.
That's Medicare. Woohoo.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I could help you with that if you need some
I do. Yeah, I do.
Fill out those forms.
I have my card, so I'm very happy. I have my card. So.
Oh, good. Okay, so then you're good. Okay. The Love Boat Alaska cruise. Yay, and Margaret. That's going to be so
Kelly,
much
I
fun.
know I told you this. That's the #1 cruise in the history of cruising in Alaska. This year in August is the most popular of any time I've ever done cruises there. That's what Ron was told me.
Is it because people have not been out for a long time and Alaska's a bucket list place?
And I think the glaciers are going down. They want to see them before that. And it's an easy place to get to. It's not expensive, and it's fun. I think it's all those factors are involved.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks,
Ellie, you're right. Laughter is the best medicine. We say this an awful lot.
And laughter is how you get to the heart of the matter. It really is.
Oh my gosh. Debbie, I have to read this. Debbie Christopher Bailey. She says, the one thing I'm looking forward to is my final divorce date on the 27th, losing his negativity. Okay, so Debbie, you're getting divorced. Your divorce date will be final during Venus retrograde. And that's what Venus retrograde does.
It's endings, yeah.
It ends relationships, or it will completely change them if there's been a problem.
Wow.
So there you go.
Great. Well, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Renee.
Welcome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. And thanks, Renee. And everybody, Kathy Kanoko says, thank you for all the positivity. You're so welcome.
You're very welcome.
And next week, I think James and I, we're going to do a really interesting show, aren't we? Should I tell everybody what it is?
Everybody,
it's our favorite spiritual books. So you'll be able to get a lot of really great books, a lot of knowledge on this.
And Kelly and I have lots of books, as you can see.
Oh, and I'm not sure which is. Oh, I do know my two favorites. I know. I've got them. I got them right here. Anyway, well, have a great week, everybody. Thanks,
everybody.
James.
Thanks,
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Renee.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.
The James and Kellee Show.